guys, so today I'm going to be reviewing and giving you a demo of the Ready Set Gorgeous Foundation by CoverGirl, which I've talked about a lot recently. And if you've picked up on that, you can probably pick up on the fact that I do like it. So it's something that kind of really surprised me. Oh, here's my other color. Because I am a lover of any products that are amazing, whether they come from the drugstore or otherwise. Several of my staples are from the drugstore. Foundations are tricky. Foundations are especially tricky if you have skin issues, if you have oily skin. It's just difficult to find one at the drugstore that works, and that's just how it is. There are great options. I've found so many great ones over the years, but there's just a lot that even if they hold up on oily skin, or even if they're, if they've got good coverage, then they kind of fail in another area, or they look fake, or they just, something's a bit off. So when I did that drugstore haul, I picked up some other things. I was really curious about trying this, and it also has a concealer that accompanies it that I have yet to try, which I'm going to now, but next time I'm there, I'm definitely going to pick that up. I'm really glad that I picked this up. It's essentially it's a liquid foundation. It says it's oil-free. It doesn't have any SPF in it, but it says it won't clog pores, it's suitable for sensitive skin, and it lasts all day. The claims is that it's one simple step for a flawless natural look that lasts all day. The formula blends easily to even skin tone and reduces shine all day. I'm very skeptical as someone with oily skin and someone with skin issues. When a foundation says that it's going to last all day, even if it's the best foundation in the world, even if it's like the greatest foundation ever and it's super great for oily skin, if you've got really oily skin or really oily T-zone like I do, I'm more combination. But I always say I'm oily because my T-zone is very oily, but I'm pretty normal right through here and my forehead. But I do have to touch up no matter if I'm using a foundation that's good for oily skin or not. So this really surprised the heck out of me. I'm going to explain to you how I use it. I'm going to show you how I use it. I'm going to show you how it covers and stuff. But first of all, just to hit the high points, it covers amazing. You can apply it with a brush, your fingertips, or a sponge, and it works perfectly all different ways that you apply it. Some foundations don't work too well when you apply them with your fingers, or some work better when you apply them with your fingers. This one just, it works no matter what you do. And set it with a powder, you don't have to set it with a powder. I use a very, very sheer setting powder just on my chin and my forehead, and but I've gone days where I haven't done that either, and it's perfect. Coverage is amazing. The finish is phenomenal. It blurs your imperfections, which I feel like the finish is really what does that in a foundation. Finish has a little bit too much shine in it. It can kind of emphasize things. If it's too flat and too, then it can emphasize the issues as well. It can really emphasize like textural issues. And then I have some little like raised issues, like some texture issues. Pregnancy has been super amazing and super fun, but it has really taken a toll on my skin just in that area. That's just at least it's not everywhere. It's truly just hormonal, and it's frustrating. But it's been sort of embarrassing at times, because even when I'm using the best foundation, the Dior Star has been the one that I was really liking before this. Even so, throughout the day when you touch up and stuff, sometimes you are self-conscious if you have skin issues. This is not only a good foundation, but it's made me feel better. I know that sounds crazy, but if you know what I'm talking about, if you've got skin issues, or if you've got something that you're a little self-conscious about, or like if you've always had good skin and then you're suddenly having all these issues, you know how it can feel. It feels really bad, when you go out like that, or to me it's just the thought of always feeling like I have to cover it, so it's made me feel good. But the finish is a matte finish. However, it is a natural matte finish. You're not gonna get any dewiness. You're not gonna look, you're not gonna have a dewy look. I like to sort of use like a highlighter and sort of add, dimension to my face with other products. But I do like that this is a more matte foundation, but it's not matte in the sense that it's gonna make you look cakey or that it's gonna emphasize issues. So I I like that I can look at my skin throughout the day and that it hasn't worn off. It's stayed where I put it. It builds amazingly. You can use your fingertips and apply it and then put a little bit more on and put it where you need it and then blend over it, and it doesn't knock off what you've put on before. It really builds beautifully without looking fake. I use so much less concealer when I use this product, and I use the same amount of this as I would any other foundation. It's not like I'm like piling it on or anything. I actually sometimes find that I can use less because it gives me more coverage. The biggest thing about this is that if you have oily skin, I have never experienced anything like this at all that controls oil like this. I've used every product that says it controls oil, from primers to powders to foundations, and while yes, there are some that definitely work better than others, throughout the day you're still going to feel a little bit of oil. I mean, your makeup isn't going to be like melting off or sliding off your face, but you know, you still do have to touch up here and there. Maybe not as much as others, like I said, but this truly, I can wear it all day and have zero oil breakthrough. I know that sounds nuts, but seriously, if you try it, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's really crazy. So I just think this is gonna help so many people that have oily skin, that have breakouts, that have skin issues. My skin has actually been better since I've started to use this. Maybe it's because it's controlling the oil. I just feel really good about this stuff and I really, really love it. I use a mix of different shades. Surprise, surprise, I usually do. I use the 105, which is I believe the lightest shade, and I use the 115. There is a 110 in between this. These are both very neutral in tone. They're not too yellow, they're not too pink. But the 105, or the 110 that's in between this is a bit too pink. These two just work perfectly. I can actually wear both of them on their own and they're fine, but just for the most perfect color, I mix both. I believe they're around $5 or $6, so that is not a big deal either. That is the most exciting thing, is that it's cheap and it works, and I just love when I find a product like that that has really, really surprised me. So I would strongly suggest that you try this if you have oily skin. Don't be afraid of it. While I do apply it with my fingers or a beauty blender or a brush most of the time, I do find that I like the way it looks the best when I use a brush like this. And this is my IT Velvet Luxe 302 brush. This just works so perfectly with it. But I've used my Sigma brushes, I've used my Sephora brushes, and they all work beautifully with it as well. But this has just been my favorite little foundation brush lately. But I'm definitely a convert. I tried to go back to use my Dior Star the other day, and while I love that stuff, it just like, I'm so spoiled to this now because I don't have to touch up. I don't carry my powder with me. It's just a really cool feeling. I can't say enough good things about it. So I am going to show you how I apply it. I'm not going to go through my concealer, my bronzer, all that. I just truly want to show you what the foundation does on its own. Alright, so I put a little bit of this on my hand. I use the 115 and the 105 when I want the absolute perfect color. I mix the two. 302 brush by IT. And what I do is I just sort of dab it first in these areas in the middle of my face, especially where I have all the discoloration down here, like from hormonal breakouts and things that I have been experiencing due to pregnancy. And then I take whatever's left and I just dab that on my forehead, where there might be just a tad bit as well. And then this brush doesn't really like soak up the foundation. It more like, and it gets the foundation in the brush, but it really like disperses it on your face. And so I really don't need any more. I can just sort of work off the rest of what I got. So I just blend it really well around my eyebrows and sort of just blend out from all those areas where I dabbed it on. And then around the jawline, I just sort of, I don't apply any more down there. I just sort of pull whatever is left on the brush and what is around my jawline anyways around to blend downward a little. So it's really easy to blend. What I probably love the most about this stuff is how buildable it is. So sometimes instead of just going in with a concealer, I'll actually put just a tiny bit more on my hand, just the littlest bit, just enough to like get my brush just barely damp again. And then I just dab it over the areas where you can still see just a little bit of discoloration. This foundation probably builds the best out of any foundation I've ever used, which is pretty big. I just do that because I feel like this stuff holds up really well. So rather than layering on concealer over this, I can just sort of lightly apply this where I need it. So that's the foundation on its own. It covers a ton. I will go in with just a little bit of concealer here and there where I need it. And for that I'll use my Studio Finish. And then I'll use just a little bit of the Bare Skin Perfecting Veil. Just this stuff is so like lightweight and sheer that you barely need any at all. So that's really the only things that I'll do where my actual face is concerned. So pretty impressive, I think, especially since I do have a lot of issues going on right now. Like I said, I've still got to use concealer and stuff and finish the rest of my makeup, and then I will be right back. So that is it, guys. I have talked a lot about this stuff. I could keep talking about it because I love it so much, and it's really nice stuff. Also, I did not mention one more thing about a primer. I'm not a huge primer person. I don't think that they're absolutely necessary. What I believe is that your skin needs to be smoothed out. It needs to be moisturized. You don't need to have any like little dry areas, which is usually what a primer kind of takes care of. It just smooths everything and kind of catches. It just allows all the dryness or any unevenness to sort of catch the primer rather than your foundation. So I just make sure that my skin's moisturized before, that it feels clean and everything, and that there's no dryness anywhere. So I don't use a primer with it. I just use my moisturizer, and I've been using the Neutrogena Oil-Free Moisture lately. A primer, the only primer that I really have right now is this one. It's the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer, and I've had this for a very, very long time, and you guys probably saw me talk about this. But I did use this with it one day, and it worked just as well as, you know, as with my moisturizer. So if you are a primer person, it works beautifully with a primer. Works fine without one, just as long as your skin is like well moisturized and even and all that. So oily skin types, skin issues, I just think this is good. This is just a good bet, good safe bet. And I think if you have perfect skin, or you know, you don't necessarily have super oily skin or anything, this would definitely work for you as well. I haven't noticed any dryness, because I do notice if a foundation is drying, it will dry me out like around here, and this has not done that at all. Whether you have oily skin or what, we all kind of touch up our makeup to a certain degree throughout the day. Even if you don't have oily skin, I think you're gonna like this, because you won't have to touch up. So it's really cool stuff. It is a very solid, good foundation, and I can't say enough good things about it. I hope that y'all enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye.